Hi, everybody. My name is Hannah, and I'm from the Wyoming branch. And today I'm going to be doing More Than Superheroes. It's a graphic novel series where I share graphic novel picks for teens and adults. So for today, all of the books I am going to bring up all feature Black protagonists. So super cool. And I'm also doing a mix of nonfiction and fiction picks for today. So before I bring up any adult graphic novels, I will let you know, just because sometimes they're going to have more mature content. But other than that, let's get into it, shall we? So the first one here, this is a teen non-fic graphic novel pick. And this is First Man, reimagining Matthew Henson. And this one is actually not technically a nonfiction, but it's actually a mix of both a fiction and a biography kind of rolled into one. So Matthew Henson was one of the first Antarctic explorers, and being an Antarctic explorer, you're not quite sure everything that they went through. A lot of what you know about Matthew Henson is based on diary entries. So some stuff's kind of filled in by the author, by their kind of guess what might have happened, but it's just it's got a nice cartoony pop-up kind of style to it. It kind of reminds me of something like a little Scooby-Doo-esque in design a little bit. It's very cartoony, but it's also a very good adventure story as well. So if you know anyone that's really into Antarctic stuff, this is a really fun one for you. And it is available in both digital format and physical format. And if you miss any books that I'm bringing up today, no worries. I've made a book list where you can just put holds after a lovely idea from one of my patrons. And they're like, hey, do you want to make a book list? So we can just put holds up. And I said, sure. And I will add that as a comment at the end of this video. So this next one, this is a biography graphic novel about Bessie Stringfield, otherwise known as the Motorcycle Queen of Miami. So this was pre-civil rights movement, so right when motorcycles were starting to really get going. So this was around in the 1920s. And she was actually the first Black woman that was ever put into the Harley-Davidson Hall of Fame and the Motorcycle Hall of Fame. And she moved important parcels for the government all across the country multiple times. So that was her job. And it's just a really cool biography book about a person that is really cool, but I didn't know about her until I stumbled upon this book. So, really cool one. Highly recommend it. This next one is my most famous pick of the day. Pretty sure probably a lot of people are familiar. And this is book one of the trilogy series by Senator John Lewis. He made 3 graphic novels that detailed his life during the the Civil Rights era, all the way to when he worked in government, all the way to his end of his life. So these are really cool firsthand accounts of what it was like to really work in the Civil Rights era in the 1960s, and just the human side of all these big historic events that can get kind of lost to history. And it's just a very pretty series. It's deep, but it just shows all the intricacies and complexities of humans trying to make their way in life. And this is also just a good one I recommend for any kind of setting, really. And you can find this one in both digital and physical format. The next one I have here. So, fun fact, cowboys, like for the most part, until they really got popular due to Hollywood and cheap nickels that like nickel book paperbacks that were really popular on the eastern side of the country was primarily done by Black people. And one of the most famous cowboys is Nat Love, and this is his entire biography in a really cool book form. So it's technically in fiction, so they kind of exaggerate parts of it, but it's just really cool. If you like cool cowboy stories, Nat Love is a really cool one for you. And this one, I believe, is in digital and physical format. So that's a really cool one. And then my last one, and this is for nonfiction, and this is actually my adult nonfic pick for the day, just because it has to deal with racism and with prison violence. So just a heads up with that. This one's probably the heaviest one that I have to share today. And that is Big Black Stand Attica. So this is about the prisoner revolt in the Attica prison in the 1970s. So New York's Attica State Prison was well known for being awful, treating people awfully, terrible conditions, and just abject racism. And one day, some prisoners were just, the punishment was way overkill. So there was a revolt and there was a standoff. So this details the standoff that took place and what resulted from that standoff. So if you just want to know a little bit about a piece of history and you like 1970s stuff, this is a really cool one for you. Let me show you another. I also like the art style in this one a lot too. There aren't a lot of colors, but the colors that they use are well thought out, which I appreciate. It's a very attractive nonfiction graphic novel pick. So those are all of the nonfiction books I have to share with you. Now we can go to something a little bit more sci-fi, and that is some of my fiction picks that I have for you today. The first one is Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. So this is right in the Marvel universe. I know I don't usually do superhero stuff, but she's in the Inhuman universe, which is a bit like X-Men, but not quite. So I was like, yeah, it's a bit of a gray area. So I'll put her in, just because this is a very unique Marvel series that I think is very fun. And if you want a graphic novel, but you're a little superheroed out, this is a very unique take. I'd say it's more sci-fi more than anything else. So Moon Girl and Dinosaur, she has some genetic mutations and she's a little intimidated by that. She's very, very smart, but she doesn't quite know where she fits in the world. And then this tyrant alien dinosaur shows up one day and they team up to be heroes. So if you like a cool buddy duo story, if you like just seeing dinosaurs, this is a really cool one. And this is available in digital format, physical format, any way you prefer to read your graphic novels, it will be available for you. And just the use of color is very, very nice too. My next one for you. So, I have a confession. I love the Solo movie. I'm sad it bombed in the theater, but I loved it. And I really liked how they depicted one of my favorite Star Wars characters, Lando. So this comic book series is actually works with the Lando from the Solo movie era and not the older Lando. So there's like 2 Lando series out there. One is with the Lando from the original 3 trilogies. So that's one with Luke Skywalker and all that good stuff. This one takes place right around the Solo movie. And it's very, very fun. Still get his cool personality. And the best thing is his droid isn't dead yet, so she's in this. And it's just very, very fun. If you want a cool Star Wars series, this is the one I recommend. Now, these next ones, they're a bit more serious of a tone, but they're still really cool books. This is actually an adaptation from a very popular book by Jason Reynolds, and it's called Long Way Down. So the premise of this one is the main character, he is in an elevator going down to the bottom of the apartment complex so he can find his brother's killer and kill him as an act of revenge. But through every floor he goes down, different past family members and friends try to console him and talk him out of it, basically. So it gives me Christmas Carol vibes a little bit by visiting the three ghosts. And it was a phenomenal book. But if you prefer to digest your reading in graphic novel form, this is a very good option for you too. This next one, this is another one that was adapted from a book and was turned into a graphic novel, I'd say 2 or 3 years ago. And that is The Silence of Our Friends. So this is 2 very different personalities from very different backgrounds teaming up to save 5 of their Black college friends that are being unjustly tried for the murder of a police officer. So this character here is from a very poor, rural, racist background. This person, there's my finger, is from a wealthier Black suburban background. So they're teaming up together to try to save their friends, and with that, just discovering all kinds of complex human stuff that kind of goes along with that. It has black and white artwork, but it's done really well. It's got this beautiful pencil artwork. And this one and the 2 other ones I'm going to share for today are all adult ratings. So just a heads up with that. There's going to be some more mature themes in this one. Here, why don't you take another look here. As you can see, it's a very pretty, well done pencil work graphic novel. And then this one, I had a tough time placing this one as a fiction or a non-fiction. I went for fiction just because this is a cartoonist, and this is the cartoonist depicting just more of talking points and his thoughts about talking points or kind of controversial subjects. And that is Your Black Friend by Ben Passmore. So Ben Passmore is a cartoonist, and he drew a lot of answers to maybe some uncomfortable questions or just trying to explain something that might be just completely new to you. So, first of all, absolutely beautiful artwork. Just for the artwork alone, it's just a gorgeous book. As you can see, it's a lot of use of color. It's very like in your face. This is not a subtle graphic novel collection by any means, but it's great. It answers a question for you. It says some stuff about Black Lives Matter. It says some stuff about racial inequality, all kinds of stuff. So if you want just a cool collection of just someone answering some questions for you in a cool, beautifully illustrated format, this is a really good one for you. And then my last one is just a cool vampire story, but it's definitely worth bringing up. Killadelphia. So this is beautiful. I think this is my favorite vampire graphic novels series out there. And this takes place in Philadelphia. And there's a young detective trying to solve the murder of his father, and some ghouls and goblins show up in Philadelphia. And it's really cool. If you like Walking Dead, if you like cool actiony crime noir stuff, this is a really cool one. And just the artwork is impeccable in this. The same person who wrote Spawn, if you've ever read the Spawn series, worked on this. And it's just very pretty. I'd say the only thing it's not really a complaint, it's more of an observation, is the use of gore can be a little over the top sometimes, but it's a story about vampires. So that's kind of to be expected, but just a heads up with that. And there's some history references in it too. So if you want a cool vampire story, Killadelphia is really, really cool, and you should check it out. So that is all I have to share with you today. I hope you found some good books to try out, maybe even a few out of your comfort zone. And with that, stay safe, stay warm out there because it's a little chilly, and I will see you later. Bye.